What's up, sports fans? So, this is the road to 150, and this is what my lower body training currently looks like. But there is something that I need to let you know. I am currently due a scan, an MRI scan on my knee tomorrow. So I'm gonna show you pretty much my training as if I didn't have an injured knee. Don't be surprised if some of the weights are a lot lighter than what I'd normally do. I am on a bit of a deload week this week. So yes, just thought it was quite important that I gave you that bit of information. But I always start my session off with a nice bit of air bike, getting the legs warm. Usually I do like 1 to 2 minutes, nothing crazy. Woo, we're done there. The next bit I tend to do my warm up is some kettlebell swings. Today's session is full of some RDLs, so it's nice to really warm up the hamstrings, make sure that hip hinge is nice and warm. Usually I do around 15. I then tend to go into some nice controlled body weight squats. Now, my knee isn't great at the moment, but body weight isn't too bad. Making sure I'm getting them knees over them toes, working the ankle mobility, and then driving up. So usually I do 2 rounds of that. Once I do 2 rounds, I then get my core out the way. Now, obviously, if you're looking to do any sport, core is so important. Not for the obvious reasons in terms of just being powerful, connecting all of these muscles together, being strong in your big lifts, but also it really helps prevent injuries. So the first one I do is a Pallof press, which is where you're looking to basically have a nice square stance, similar to what I would have with a golf swing. You can either do square stance or you can do split stance. I'm gonna go square. Literally bring the bands in the middle of your body. Make sure you can feel like you're tensing your glutes. And you're gonna try and keep that band in the middle of the body all the way through the movement. And you're just bringing it in and out. And honestly, you're gonna really feel that core. And if it gets a bit easy, bring yourself out further. Make that tension harder. Now I am doing it with a band, but you can do this with a cable machine if that's all you've got available. But once you're done roughly around 10 that side, I then swap over and do 10 this side. But that's a really popular movement with Olympic weightlifters. Genuinely, in terms of just having a big, strong trunk, that's the one. And obviously, you can see how much it can connect really easy with the golf swing. I mean, you're constantly in this position trying to maintain good stability and balance. So usually do 2 sets on that. I'll be nice and warm and then pushing forward. Some movements should be functional, and if there's one, it's core work, all right? So this next one is gonna be like, you're gonna be like, that is the most functional shit I've ever seen. But this one's worth it, and this is what we call a hollow rock. This genuinely makes my core feel amazing, but you just look like an absolute weirdo in the gym doing it. Lie flat, you're gonna try and keep your lower back on the floor, hands above your head, feet up, and then you're literally gonna rock with your legs. See me shaking? And I usually do around 12 to 15 rocks. All I'm trying to do is just get that upper back off the floor. So it doesn't need to be a massive rock. I just do 2 sets of 15 there. I just feel like if I don't do core at the start, I'm never gonna do it. Now, the 2 calf exercises I do, well, I've got 3. I do a standing calf raise, single leg, a seated calf raise, and some tib raises. Now, this session, I'm only gonna do standing calf raises and tib raises. Normally I train in the gym, all right, and so then I always use that seated calf raise machine. It's a lot easier. So what I'm gonna do here is show you what I would do for a standing calf raise. Normally I just use a pole or a wall. I'm gonna lean against it. Doing this creates more range of motion at your ankle. All right, if you're upright, you're just, you're halfway in between your range of motion, but try and place your legs as far back as you can. You really get good quality range of motion. So then what I tend to do is go single leg, and I'll start my weakest leg first, which is my right, put the leg behind, and then I'm gonna try and go all the way onto my toe. And when it's single leg, I'm aiming for like 10 to 12 reps really. I usually do 3 sets of 10 to 12 on those, all right, and then I'll move on to my next 3 sets. I kind of actually like it doing calves at the start, because it just gets me in, instead of like going from 0 to 100, it really gets me like working up to, my intensity. So then when I get to the next few movements for my, overall leg, I feel like I'm already in the mixer. Got a bit of a sweat on, got a few muscles pumping, and then I'm ready to really get into it. Right, let's do another set. Also, if you're thinking like, oh, calves ain't that useful, they are really useful. Anyone doing any power movements like at all, having strong calves is a key muscle in being explosive, but it's not just that for me, it's more of an aesthetic reason as well. I'm gonna be honest. Quick last set. Now, next one, we are moving on to tib raises. So this time we're working the front part of our calf. And again, this helps like stabilize our knee. Big shock absorber if you're into any running or any jumping. If I make sure these areas are strong, I know that I'm gonna be in a pretty good spot to keep being able to work on my explosiveness in my lower body. All right, especially if I want to look to bring in plyometrics like jumps and so on and so forth. So this one's pretty simple. Lie yourself against the wall, make sure your feet are hip width. You're then gonna push through your heels, lifting your toes as high as you can. All the way down, back. And honestly, it's the most minute movement, but 20 reps, and do they start burning? And you wanna really feel like you're tensing your quads at that top position. Okay, so the tension just goes completely up your shin into your quads, all right? Burn is actually real. Let's get started with the big boy movements. So we're now gonna move into one of my favorite lower body movements, and that is a barbell Romanian deadlift. Just love everything about this one. You know, the biggest one in golf that you see so many people balancing on balls and doing all sorts of weird shit, but quite frankly, keep it simple, keep it functional, keep it with good form, and you will reap all the rewards. And having a strong hip hinge, okay, set of glutes, set of hamstring, so important for just power in everything that you do. So we're gonna start with a warm-up set and then we're gonna build up into it. Always start with the bar and the racks. Reason being is if you don't know how to conventionally deadlift correctly, there's no point doing it from the floor, and you're using energy to just get in the position of the bar. So I always say start on the rack. In terms of grip, you're just gonna look to go outside, just outside your hips. Feet wanna be around hip width, okay? So not like you squat, okay? In a place where you would jump, which is usually around hip width. You're then gonna push your bum to the back of the room, take the bar to the middle of the shins, feel your hamstrings, drive through the glutes. Trying to maintain a nice neutral back all the way through, okay? Really getting that squeeze on with the glutes at the top. So just like we were trying to maintain that nice neutral core position while Pallof press, we're now doing it inside of the RDL. These are how all things link. I'm gonna do 90 here, and then we're gonna go 120, and then I'm just gonna show you good form through 120 and how you can build it. I'd also recommend, if there's one lift you're ever gonna need straps, it's a dumbbell RDL. You don't want your grip to be the point of failure for this one. All right, so holding a big heavy bar, chances are your grip's gonna start hurting after like 5 reps, and you really just wanna take that out of it so you can focus on using the lower body. So just bring it in. Again, this is still a warm up, just making sure form's spot on. 6 to 8 reps with this one, around 3 to 4 sets. Not bad. If you're doing it right, you should spend a lot of your session out of breath, like trying to catch your breath in between sets. So, you know, a lot of the rest periods between these exercises I'm gonna be doing are at least minute 30 to 2 minutes, just because you want to be making sure you're powerful. Now I'm just shattered. If you're not out of breath and needing to sit down somewhat after a set of like RDLs, yeah, you're probably not working hard enough, mate. Tempo wise, always 3 seconds on the way down, 1 second up. It's nice to control that lowering phase to make sure you're getting it in the right muscles. It's very easy to get something wrong, feel it in your lower back, and all of a sudden you got a really tight lower back moving into the rest of the week. So just make sure you control it. A lot of the errors people make with the RDL is they don't push their bum back, right? If you don't push your bum back, and you just let your chest go forward, you're always gonna feel it through here. Plus, if you're massively hyperextended, like show your big booty off, you're also, again, gonna feel it a lot in your lower back. So the key principles that I would always say to people, make sure you're pushing your bum back, don't let your stance go too far wide, and then also focus, bringing the rib cage down, pelvis under, and staying nice and neutral. Next set. Oh, pretty good. We'll take it. Right, we've got one more to go. Figure of 8 straps. Moving on. Next one, barbell box squat. Depth, power is the name of the game. Pretty simple. In a back squat, place our bum down again. Haven't done these in a while because of my knee, but I'm just gonna show you at some, you know, pretty light loads what it would normally look like. Okay, nice and steady. Control, control, control. Bum hits the bench. Drive up, baby. Oh, that was actually quite hard. My knee hurt a little bit, so I'm not gonna go much heavier than that. Like, if you do have any aches and pains in the gym, don't do the exercises that irritate it. It only makes it worse, all right? So again, sort of here, I'd normally build it up, you know, 4 sets of 6 to 8, control, sort of tapping my bum on the bench, having a little bit of a pause, and then going straight up. You ready? Next one is a barbell hip thrust. Now, in terms of this, you know, this exercise isn't just for growing a massive bunda, all right? This is for getting that posterior chain nice and powerful, all right? Most of the explosive movements we perform with our legs is coming from our hips. So again, this is a great one to really get some explosiveness through our hamstrings and our glutes. And that's why it's in the program. So you can always go quite heavy on this one. Feet for this one want to be around shoulder width, chin down, chest facing forward, and you want to try and maintain that. Grip nice and wide to keep the stability of the bar, and then push through your heels and drive to the top, okay? And feel like you're just driving all the way through with a nice little pause at the top. And you should feel like you're tensing your core at the top as well. Now I like to go a bit higher rep range with that one. You really can feel your glutes working. So I usually go 8 to 12. That was 90. As it's a bit of a deload week, I will lower it to probably go like 120 again, similar to the RDL. But yeah, you probably load it up nearer 200 if you're really going for it. Like if you really want to push it. So we're gonna aim for 3 sets of 12. Let's go. That's hard. When I'm having a period of rest or a period of celebration, or whatever it is, having a few beers, I will actually take it a bit more easy in training, and I'll use it as a week's break for my whole body. I think so many people make the error of when they're out having, you know, maybe a few beers or on holiday, they're trying to almost notch their training up to match the fact that they're, you know, doing a bit extra out of their life, when it shouldn't be like that at all. You know, it's so important that you get enough recovery. And if you're going out having, you know, like I've been the last couple of weeks of having plenty of beers and not having that good of sleep, like if you come into the gym and then expect your best stuff and try and push past that, probably just gonna make yourself more tired, increasing chances of injury. You're probably gonna hinder yourself in the long run. So this is what it kind of looks like. Lighter weights, a bit more chilled, a bit more rest. Not bad, not bad. Get any closer? Got one more to go. Well, sports fans, Milo's back on the show. He's having his daily feed. If you didn't know, Milo eats every 3 hours just to optimize protein synthesis. He'll get scared now. I'll start banging this. And there he goes. Get that off me. Oh. Right, final movement, and we're moving on to the worst exercise ever. No, I'm joking. I actually quite enjoy it, but it is brutal. It's a Bulgarian split squat. The main work we're trying to do here is obviously strengthen up the leg, but we're working on stability. A lot of the movements that I've done, or the last 3 movements that I've done, are what we call bilateral, which means you're using both your legs. Now, obviously, that doesn't work as much stability. When it comes to then a Bulgarian split squat, which is a unilateral exercise, which means single leg, you're now working a lot more stability, which obviously, due to balance, due to helping any imbalances, is really useful for the golf swing. Yeah, legs just hurt a lot doing these, but they're really good and great for your longevity of training. It's very hard to injure yourself or get any loading issues wrong when it comes to a Bulgarian split squat. If anything, people don't load enough because they're so painful. We're gonna do a weaker side first. I always squat stance from the bar. Now, as you can see, this is the setup I recommend. You can do it on a bench, but doing it in a rack or a Smith machine with a pad on top is just so much smoother for your ankle. Feet remain hip width or a bit wider. Nice and upright torso. Keep your core nice and neutral so you feel like you bring them hips forward, and then sink your back knee down and drive up through that front leg. So what I would normally do is look to bring a bit of weight in, either each side, and just to complete, you know, I usually go quite high rep here, around sort of 11 to 13. So once I've done 11, I'll then move on to the other side and do exactly the same. Nice and steady, trying to keep constant motion all the way through. And it just feels so much better on this leg, which is why I think there's a little bit of an issue that side. Very smooth. We're gonna add a little bit of weight today. Normally, if I was really testing myself, might have 20, 25 kilos in each hand, but we're not trying to kill ourselves this one. We're just trying to get some good quality reps in and really try and push the strength and the stability. And the more reps we do, the more our stabilizers work, which is why I'm going higher rep range. Just try and go for more. That's not that bad. They are horrible. Go final set. Let's make it a big one. Try and do 13 each side. Right, so if you've seen any of my training videos, you will know that I love a finisher. Usually for lower body, it's some form of sprinting. In one of the gyms that I go to, there's like one of the curve runners. Love them. I usually just do 15-second sprints, 45 seconds rest for five minutes. And I'm gonna do very similar on the air bike, all right? I'm gonna go 10 cows a minute on a minute for 5 minutes, okay? Just go hard. Ready? Rapid, eh? See that power? Woo. It's so odd when you do this though. Like all of a sudden, you just start dying. Let's go. So I usually do, I'm on an upper, lower split at the moment, 4 days. My other lower day is similar, but just got some different variations in there, but it's based around the same sort of philosophy. If you want to see that one, please drop a comment and let me know. It'd be really informative of you. Oh, one more. Dying. Oh, horrendous. Honestly, if anyone's been on an air bike, you're gonna know the pain right now. So look, thanks for watching another video. Hope you found that useful. If you do want to see more of me training, make sure you drop it a like, let me know in the comments. You know, you can hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of me, would be very polite. And yeah, hopefully next week, we'll be back on the golf course. If it hopefully stops raining in England and their courses are actually open. See you in a bit.